Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel. If you are new here, we're in the nursery doing a long-awaited life update, all things baby, pregnancy, postpartum, being a new mom, answering all the questions. So a few hours ago I put on my Instagram story, asked me anything baby related type of stuff, and I kind of already filtered through the questions so we could just get right to it. I have not filmed a question Q&A type of video in the longest time, honestly, since before I got pregnant. So a lot to catch up on. Wanted to hit all the topics, all the things, and just chat with you guys for a little bit. It is a rainy night. It's actually evening. I just got Maverick all settled downstairs with my mom. We actually just got back from Montana yesterday, and so I figured I would go ahead and get this video filmed. I'm up in his nursery while I have my mom's help. So they're downstairs chilling, and I just want to answer a bunch of questions, chat with you guys, update you guys on how I'm doing, how baby's doing, all that kind of fun stuff. So I also left my camera charger at the hotel in Montana, so I'm hoping that my camera makes it through this video, even though I know it's gonna be a long one. If not, I have my little backup one here, so if the quality changes, that's why. If you guys are new here, hi, I'm Rachel. I post lifestyle content, mostly vlogs, fashion, beauty. I'm a new mom, and I like to just share my life with the internet. And if you're not new, welcome back. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it more than you know. I just filled up a nice big ice water with lime in my Mana hydration cup. You guys know I'm obsessed with this cup. I have it in 2 colors, and I also have the bigger size one. Mana has the best cups, tumblers, mugs, all that kind of stuff. They are 100% eco-friendly and use eco-friendly packaging, which I really love. So I wanted to thank them for sponsoring today's video. I don't leave anywhere without it. Just wanted to let you guys know, because I get a lot of questions about this tumbler, and I still have a code with them. It's Rachel25. It gets you 25% off of your purchase. Mana offers free shipping on orders $50 or more, and they also have free and easy return. So I just want to let you guys know, remind you about them, because they literally have the best stuff. The quality of their materials that they use for their products are so good and eco-friendly, which I love. So I will link their website down below and link some of my specific favorite tumblers and mugs that I use. This one I specifically really like. But yeah, my code Rachel25 saves you 25% off your purchase. Thank you, Mana, for sponsoring this video. We're gonna go ahead and jump into all the questions, so this video isn't an hour long. So on my computer I broke it down into 2 sections because I kind of wanted to touch on something. So first up, I wanted to talk about conceiving, fertility, how I knew I was ready for a baby, all that kind of stuff. So first question along the lines of how did Dylan and I know that we were ready for a baby? When did I feel ready for a baby? All that kind of stuff. How do you know? Honestly, I think I know it's different for everyone. Not everyone lives the exact same life, so it's totally different. Everyone is on a different timeline. Dylan and I had been together for so long, and we always knew and dreamed of wanting and having a big family, and we just felt as a couple we were ready to take that next step. I know some people it takes longer than others, and that's totally fine. Everyone is on their own timeline. I was saying, I would if I had to give advice about that question, I would say don't judge your age. If you're watching and you're oh my gosh, I'm 27, Rachel's age, and she's already married with a kid, and you're single and having a great time living the single life, that is great, and I'm so happy for you. Everyone is so different, and I think that that's the beauty of life. It's not everyone needs to have that specific timeline. We honestly were just ready to take that next step together as a couple. It's something we talked about and dreamed about and prayed for all the time. We both have careers, we are married, we're in a home, and we just felt the next step was to start a family or try to start having a family. So that's what we did, and I'm so glad we did, because being a mom is literally the best thing ever. My posture is so bad right now. Lots of questions on if I did anything to prep my body for pregnancy, and then also along the lines of did I take any supplements or vitamins to prep my body for pregnancy? Everyone's fertility journey is so different, so I don't want to act it's just so easy for everyone. I know that some people struggle with fertility more than others, and my heart goes out to people who do. It's really such a fragile topic for women that I honestly never even thought was that fragile of a topic until Dylan and I started trying ourselves. Luckily, I was very blessed, and it only took Dylan and I around 5 to 6 months to get pregnant, but I know some women it takes years. Some women have to resort to other options, and so I just want to say before I touch on this, my heart goes out, and I pray for the women that have a harder time than I did getting pregnant and trying to start and grow their family, and I know it's just such a touchy subject and topic, so I don't want to desensitize anything when I'm talking about this. The last month where we ended up actually getting pregnant, we took these vitamin supplement packets from Parallel Health. I'm not exactly sure how to say the brand or pronounce the brand, I'll put it here on the screen. I actually found out about them through my friend Audrey, who is a new mom and was pregnant at the time when I asked her for some advice. It was like around month 4 or 5-ish, and I was getting a little bit discouraged, even though I know that's like not even that long. Oh, are we gonna lose power because it's storming? And she turned me to this brand, and Dylan and I actually both took the preconception pack, so I'll link them below for you guys. And I got pregnant that month of taking them. I don't want to say that it was 100% those, but it was the month that I started taking them, and it ended up working out. So did clean up my eating a lot, laid off of the alcohol a lot, just like little things like that. Tried to be a little bit more on the health conscious side. Dylan and I prayed about it a lot. If you're a religious person, I really did turn to God and like talk to him a lot about if it's the right time, and if it's meant to be, then it will be, and if it's not, then it won't. So again, I know it's a lot harder for some women than others. I just wanted to touch on what worked for us. Moving on into like the pregnancy questions, talking about like my first trimester, all that kind of stuff, which is so crazy that I never even got around to a Q&A while I was pregnant. I low-key miss being pregnant so much, like seeing other people pregnant, like seeing their belly. I'm like, wait, I miss being pregnant. First question I have is, any anxiety in the first trimester? How did I deal with it? And then like tips for like getting to the first appointment. I know it's crazy because when you, especially if you're a first-time mom, like this is something that shocked me. Once I found out I was pregnant, I think I was around 4 weeks, like barely 4 weeks. I found out really early. I had like symptoms of really weird dreams. My nipples and boobs were hurting, and just like kind of felt a little bit off. So I was like kind of having that feeling, and I was a few days late on my period, and then took the test and it like immediately popped up as positive. No one talks about how like you don't go to your first OB appointment to like see the baby or see if there's actually a heartbeat for like till like 7 or 8 weeks. I think I went around the 8-week mark, and it felt like forever because I found out at 4 weeks. I know some women don't find out till like 7 or 8 weeks, so then they can like automatically just like go to their OB. It felt like the longest waiting game, which is something that I feel like not a lot of people know, like that you have to wait until you're at least 7 or 8 weeks is when they like to see you, at least at my doctor. So that kind of came at a shock for me. But my first trimester, honestly, I felt so blessed that I had such a good healthy pregnancy till towards the end, which I'll touch on in my birth story. Sorry, I feel like I have something in my eye. I had morning sickness maybe a handful of times. It's actually like the reason that I had to tell my mom early, and we started telling family early on. I think I told family around like 8 or 9 weeks because Danny and my mom were staying here. My mom flew in to help me shoot content for like a campaign I was doing with Revolve, and I was like throwing up in the downstairs bathroom, and Danny was sitting on the couch, and then he like told my mom like, Rachel's throwing up. And then of course my mom comes to me, she's like, why are you throwing up? And then that night I text Dylan when he came up from work, I'm like, we have to tell my mom because she's on to something. That was really all I had first trimester. It lasted like 8, maybe like 9 to 10ish, 11 weeks. It really wasn't terrible. I would say like if you're dealing with nausea, talk to your doctor. I know that there's things that you can take. I personally didn't take anything. I tried to take not really anything except like a prenatal. I feel like my top tip for nausea is to keep snacks in the bedside drawer, because sometimes I feel like my nausea would kick in right when I woke up when I had nothing in my stomach, and I would like turn and get a saltine cracker, granola bar, like whatever you could stomach. And I feel like it really, really helped. Also adding like flavoring and things like that into your water to make sure that your water intake is like really good. I would always put like lime and lemon, put like element packets, electrolytes, all that kind of stuff into your water, because I know some people like even trying to drink water grosses them out. So those would be my little tips for nausea, but thankfully I was very blessed and I had a very smooth pregnancy. I absolutely loved second trimester. I felt so beautiful. My belly was so cute, starting to pop. I felt like so confident and cute. And then third trimester hit, and that's when you really start to feel pregnant and start like getting really big, uncomfortable. It's hard to sleep, all that kind of stuff. So if you're in the third trimester, hang in there because all of it is worth it. And then once you have your baby, you'll be like, oh my gosh, at least me, maybe I'm crazy, you'll like miss being pregnant. Kind of random, but a lot of questions on skincare I used when I was pregnant. I used all the Face Reality products. There was like 2 that I couldn't use because you're not allowed to use like certain types of serums. I like literally forget, but I can put the lineup of like what I used. I have really acne prone skin. I have to be careful with like the products and things that I put on my face. So the Face Reality I really, really loved. And I also love the Tata Harper, like their Clean and Gentle line. So I'll put like the exact product list here because I'm kind of like forgetting which ones I would use. But in place of some of my serums that I could no longer use for like my acne, I would use a Mandelic serum from Face Reality, and I literally feel like it cleared up my skin and my fingers crossed acne has not come back since. Lots of questions on like my favorite pregnancy items. The Newton pregnancy pillow is so good. I will link it for you guys. And then also the Hatch belly oil and the Summer Fridays. I totally believe that stretch marks are genetic. Like my mom had 4 kids and never once got them, so I just feel like I'm not prone to getting stretch marks. Who knows, but I feel like staying hydrated and really moisturizing the skin. I don't really think it matters what product you use, oil or lotion wise. I think it's just making sure that your skin is hydrated, because it really starts to stretch and it can get dry and itchy and uncomfortable. And I feel like the more you itch it, that's like more prone for the stretch marks. So I really, really loved the Hatch belly oil, and then the Summer Fridays belly oil. The Summer Fridays one is a little bit more affordable, and I honestly liked it better, so I can link both for you guys. I put this question in this category because we obviously came up with the name while I was pregnant, but how did we come up with the name Maverick? We have a babyless name. I also got questions on to share like baby names that we didn't use, and honestly we have like only 4 or 5 names that we really love. And we plan on having more kids, multiple kids. So I don't want to share them quite yet. When we're done having babies, maybe I will share them if I'm still doing YouTube at that point. Coming up with Maverick, Dylan actually picked it. Dylan's favorite movie was Top Gun growing up. His mom said every morning before school, like when he was tiny baby, he would ask to watch Top Gun, and he would watch the opening scene of like the fighter jets and the song and all that kind of stuff. We were talking about names, and Dylan like said the name, and I was like, wait, I really like that. And neither of us know a Maverick. Like we don't really know anyone in our lives named Maverick. And I was like, wait, that's a cute name. So it kind of stuck. And then his middle name is Daniel, obviously after my brother Danny. Danny's real full name is Daniel. So we named his middle name after Danny, and then obviously Audrey as the last name. And it's so funny because every time we tell Danny that Maverick is named after him, he's just like so confused. He's like, why? He doesn't get it. It's like the funniest thing. But yeah, full name Maverick Daniel Audrey. And I love it so much. I have like no regrets about his name. I think it fits him perfectly, and we call him Mav as like a little nickname, I guess you could say, or we call him like Mavy sometimes. So I think it's really cute and fits like his personality really well. Last little question for like the pregnancy portion is prepping for labor, like things that I did end up getting induced, which I'll talk about in the birth story. So I didn't really get to like fully go into labor and have my water break and all that kind of stuff naturally, but things that I was doing to prep for labor, I was eating the dates, 6 dates a day, which was honestly so hard. It's harder to get 6 dates down than you think. I was drinking the raspberry leaf tea. I was doing all those things. I started probably around like 34, 35 weeks, but I ended up getting induced at 37 weeks. So I will say, I don't think I did it long enough for any of it to help. It's also pouring rain and thunderstorming while I'm trying to film this. I think if you start earlier, like earlier in your 3rd trimester, definitely talk to your OB or your doctor before like doing so, before like starting the teas and stuff. What is going on with my hair? I think it definitely can help, but I just don't think, like personally for me, that I did it long enough. Moving on to labor. Lots of questions of like, was I ever scared of giving birth, or like the thought of giving birth, things like that. And honestly, I never really was, because the biggest tip that I would have is if you're a new mom and you're like prepping for it, and the weeks leading up can kind of start to be a little bit, you can get anxious, nervous, all those things. I just like kept telling myself, because I heard this advice from someone, I forget who it was, like our bodies as women are like made to do this. Like your body is made to do this. You will be okay. There's a lot of women who do it. I definitely tried to stay off of TikTok towards the end. I found myself scrolling at night. I think this is what made me so anxious, honestly, because at the beginning, I was never really scared of the idea of giving birth. Like I just thought like, oh, that's like what women do type of thing. But then towards the end, when it was like starting to get time to like get closer to the birth experience and like labor and all that, I was getting on TikTok and listening to other people's birth stories and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, no one ever posts like a positive exciting birth story. Like I feel like all my For You page was just like bad birth story, like scary things happening during birth type of thing. Everyone has a different birth story and a different birth experience, so you have to just like remind yourself that, and you have to have your trust in the nurses, in your doctor, in God, whatever you want to have your trust and faith in, and just know that like our bodies were meant to do this. It's storming so bad, but I don't want to like stop halfway through these questions, so I am so sorry. I'm sitting by a window. All right, I think next up I was going to talk about the hospital experience and like hospital choice. There's 2 good hospitals here. I know a lot of people that follow are like local to Nashville. We have really great hospitals here that I'm very thankful for. We have Centennial and St. Thomas. We delivered at Centennial and we loved it. Like I have nothing but good things to say. I was there for so long. I had like a 27-hour birth labor experience. So we went through like 3 or 4 rounds of nurses, and every single nurse was amazing. We're obsessed with our doctor. I'm not gonna like give out my doctor's names or things like that just for like privacy reasons, and if we do end up having another kid while we're still here in Nashville. We honestly delivered at Centennial because that's what our insurance covered, but I've heard great things about both hospitals. I want to touch on the birth story. If you guys missed my like 1 month of Maverick video, it kind of like shows out the birth story in like text and stuff, because we didn't film. Well, we did film my birth, but we didn't post it on the internet for everyone to see because Dylan and I kind of wanted that just to ourselves, which I'm thankful and glad that we have those moments and memories captured. But it's just kind of like for us to see and have. But to sum it all up, I went in for my 37-week appointment, and I complained to the doctor how I was itching really badly, like on my hands, my belly, my lower back, and she kind of looked a little bit concerned and thought it was something called cholestasis. So she immediately wanted to get blood work done, but to get the results back to see if I was positive or not for cholestasis, I think she said it took like a week and a half to 2 weeks to get the test results back. So by then I would have been 39 weeks. If you don't know what cholestasis is, you can like look it up. I'm not gonna like go into that whole thing. But basically we made the decision because our doctor was on call all weekend, and she kind of offered it to us but wanted us to like make the final call to be induced on that Friday. I think it was Wednesday when I went in for my 37, and then Friday we ended up getting induced. Dylan and I talked about it, prayed about it, and we just decided that being induced was the best option. We went in, they started me on some meds, finally got dilated to like a 2 or 3. I was not dilated like at all when I went in. Getting dilated takes so long, at least for me it did. Finally got started on Pitocin. Hours later, I think by then it was like 12 hours we had been sitting there. They broke my water, but before they did that, I ended up getting an epidural, which I have a lot of questions on if the epidural hurt, because like so many people are so nervous about like the epidural or not. I was full like any medication that they could give me, I was going to be taking. I wasn't trying to do a natural birth. If you are, I have to give you a round of applause, because I just like could absolutely never. The epidural does not hurt, you guys. I was so nervous about it. My palms were sweaty. I was freaking out. They made Dylan sit in a chair. I wanted to hold on to Dylan, but they made him sit in a chair. I'm not really exactly sure why. I think they made him sit in a chair because they worry that once Dylan sees the needle, or if anything goes wrong, that he could pass out, and then they'd be worried about me and him. So I think that they made him sit in a chair. He held my hand though. I stayed super still. It feels like a few bee stings down the back while they're giving you like the numbing, and then the epidural goes in, they take it out, you literally don't feel it. So after they gave me the epidural, they broke my water. This was around like 2 in the morning. By now we had been there since 5 a.m. Friday morning. It was like 2 a.m. the following Saturday morning. Broke my water. I think I was like at a 6 or 7 dilated at that point, so I still had a while to go. They told me it'd probably be like 3 or 4 hours till I finally dilated to a 10 to be able to start pushing. Well, in the meantime, it was the middle of the night. Maverick's heart rate kept dropping, so we actually got like totally prepped for a C-section. This is like the point in the birth story where I try to not like freak other people out when I tell my birth story, especially if you're a new mom anticipating birth. But yeah, they prepped us for a C-section. Dylan and I were just sitting there kind of like in shock, but I had been there for so long at that point, I wasn't allowed to eat anything, and I was like so over waiting to be dilated that I kind of almost was like, whatever, if the C-section is like what needs to be done, then let's just get it done with. I was sad though, because I was sad that a C-section was going to be how it ended after I like had waited all day to get dilated, whereas I could have just like gone in at 5 a.m. Friday morning and had a C-section and immediately have been done. And I always had like, obviously like every woman does, dream of pushing a baby out vaginally as your first birth type of thing, or at least that's kind of how I've always expected my first birth to go type of thing. So his heart rate kept dropping. I signed the C-section papers. They fully got Dylan like in his gown, in his cap, shoe covers, all that. They put me in something, and then the doctor comes like rushing in, and she's like, wait, his heart rate is like stabilizing, let's give it a little bit longer, which I was very thankful for. We love our doctor so much. And then his heart rate never dropped again. The whole time I was in my head just like praying to God, like whatever's meant to be will be type of thing. And it ended up working out. About 3 hours later, fully dilated to a 10, and I only had to push for like 5 minutes. He was out, beautiful, healthy baby. And yeah, that's kind of like the story. It was crazy. It was such a long process, but the end result is obviously so worth it. And once I was able to start pushing, it was like a breeze. So I did have a 2nd-degree tear, but honestly I had the epidural, so I didn't feel it, but it did make the recovery a little bit harder, but nothing that you can't get through, you know? That's kind of the little birth story summed up. I have had to stay calm at hospital before labor. Honestly, I put a lot of trust and faith into the doctors, the nurses, the hospital, all that stuff, and honestly having a good support system, Dylan being there every step of the way, like holding my hand, reassuring me, feeding me popsicles, feeding me ice cubes, like all that stuff. He was like the absolute best and helping me through it all. So that kind of really kept me calm. Bring like a sound machine, music, whatever. We watched TV a lot. It helped kind of make time go by. So just like whatever kind of makes you comfortable. I totally recommend bringing a pillow and blanket and just like tossing it if you think it's gross to bring it home after. We just like washed it immediately. But a pillow and blanket like saved me, especially because I was there for so long. I feel like Dylan really got me through those like 20 plus hours. He was like an angel during the whole thing. So I was very, very thankful for him. Last little question for the labor part is, who did we allow in the room when delivering? It was just Dylan and I. Like I said, we found out we were getting induced on Wednesday and got induced Friday. So we had 2 days to kind of prep. So my mom got in the car from Florida and drove. So my mom was at the hospital. Emily came up, and then Dylan's parents, his mom and dad, they all slept in the waiting room overnight. You guys, I kept telling them to go home, go home, go home. After the scare of like the C-section possibly happening, my mom was like, no way in hell am I going home. But Dylan and I were really big on just us two being in the delivery room. We had this huge room at Centennial. Like, we were so thankful. We were like on the top floor, had a huge room. We had this whole little extra section that had like its own door shut. So our family stayed in there for a little bit, but then once it was time to like start pushing, and I don't know, you just feel very vulnerable in that time of your life when you're in labor. I just wanted it to be Dylan and I, and honestly, our family was so understanding, like no one's feelings were hurt type of thing. I feel like if you do have family members that are giving you a hard time about it, just remind yourself that it is about you, about your family, not about anyone else. But yeah, it was just Dylan and I while I was delivering Maverick, and then once he was there, they cleaned him all off, cleaned me all off. Dylan and I spent like probably like 20-30 minutes, just him, me and Mav, and then we like let our family come in because they had been waiting in the waiting room literally all night and all day, and it was really special to like have them there immediately. So I did love that they were at the hospital, but it was really special to have just Dylan and I in the delivery room when things were going down. Okay, moving to postpartum, I feel like this is where all the questions were, and obviously a lot of them were, how am I really doing postpartum, and a lot of worry on postpartum and people anticipating postpartum and all that kind of stuff. And I do not want to downplay postpartum feelings, emotions, all that kind of stuff, because it is such a crazy, vulnerable time. So I really want to tell you guys like how I did and how I'm doing. I would say I'm doing really well right now. There's definitely days where I have my days and I cry and I feel sad for reasons where I like can't even explain or feel, and I think that that's totally normal. I think it's healthy to cry it out type of thing. Early on, I was in like this newborn bubble. My mom was here, Dylan was home from work, and everything was just like going so well. I think what really set in and made me sad and have tougher days was when my mom left, and then obviously Dylan went back to work, and I kind of like reality kicked in of like, okay, I have this baby now, I have to get back to work soon, Dylan's at work, kind of just like real life hits in, and that's kind of where I struggled the most. It took me a few days to like kind of adapt, but I will say I'm the type of person where I need to be busy, and just like sitting around and laying around and doing nothing made me worse than like getting back to work and getting out of the house and stuff like that. So I know I had a lot of like comments and questions, people like, why'd you go back to work so quick? Like, why didn't you take more time off? And back to work for me, I'm very, very thankful for what I do. And it was just like filming and posting content and stuff like that on the internet. Luckily and thankfully, I'm so grateful to be able to be home and stay home with my baby and watch my baby while also work. I will say it is a lot harder than a lot of people think to create content and be an influencer, I guess that's what you want to call it, because there's a lot of like back end. I edit all my own videos, emails, editing, all that kind of stuff, and even shooting the content with the baby. If you have like a screaming baby or he's having a bad day type of thing, I don't want to pull out the camera when he's like screaming, crying type of stuff. So it makes the job a little bit harder now with the baby, but I wouldn't trade it, and I put the baby first. I went back to posting and being on the internet and doing campaigns and accepting brand deals and things like that quicker than I thought I would, but I think that really helped me mentally. Now, do I still have my days where I like want to just be in the house, stay in jammies all day with the baby and BMS type of thing? Yes, and I do that. Don't think that just because I'm posting a lot and whatever, it means I have my life together. If you're a new mom and you're like feeling like you're in the trenches, I have felt and some days still feel like that too. Before I experienced postpartum like cries and mood swings and things like that. I didn't really understand where people were coming from, because I didn't really understand how you could have a baby and love the baby so much but feel sad in some type of way. It's like the hardest thing to explain. But there's like post-baby blues and all that stuff's a thing. I like went through this one phase where I like really missed my belly, and I like was so sad that every day he was getting older. Like now he's getting to the age where it's fun to see him grow, and like now he's smiling more and playing with toys and noticing my face, and it's like really, really fun. But nothing is better than like the newborn little cuddles and stuff like that. When I noticed that it was quickly going away faster than I wanted it to. They grow so fast. So I think that's been the hardest part for me, is to just like accept how quickly he's gonna grow. Here's that he is not our last baby. So in my mind, I think like, oh, I'll get to experience the newborn bubble again. But with this being my first, I'm kind of just like trying to soak it all in as much as I can, because it really does go fast. How am I dealing with postpartum body? How am I dealing with bigger boobs? How am I dealing with body image? All that kind of stuff. And I will say I have my days. It's really, really hard too, because I put my life out on the internet and I put it out there for people to criticize. So I am always nervous or anxious to see if people have things to say about like how my body has changed. I feel like I share a lot with you guys, so I'll just like be quite honest. I gained around like 55 to almost 60 pounds during my pregnancy. Dealing with the change of my body and body image has definitely been, I think, now that we're like out of the newborn trenches, a little bit harder for me to deal with, because now it's like, okay, he's growing up, I need to get back into the gym, I need to like get my body back, but I'm also at the same time trying to give myself grace. So I think mentally I'm kind of dealing with the body image as well. Like I'm not all fine. I think a lot of you guys think like, oh, she's posting photos of herself, or oh, she feels so confident in herself because she's posting photos and little dresses and whatever the case may be. But there's definitely days where I have my days of body image and I feel sad, but I also have to remind myself of what my body did for me and gave me. Like makes me cry thinking about it, because our bodies are so insane as women. It's such a thing now with social media and everyone comparing yourself and all that kind of stuff, especially with me posting my life out there. I leave and open my life up for critiques and criticism and people to comment hateful, ugly things about me, my life, my baby, my family, like whatever the case may be. So I have to just like accept that. And so I think lately, every time I post something, I'm like, oh my God, is someone going to be like, oh, her arms look bigger? Because I have gained weight and I still have some baby weight on, and I'm slowly but surely trying to get it off. But I think right now my first priority is like getting my baby in check, getting on a routine with my baby and taking care of my baby. And then everything else comes after that. So I just feel like I am trying to be gentle on myself with my body and speak kindly to myself, because it really is such a hard thing to watch your body change. The other thing, which kind of like jumps to the next question, is like, how has it been breastfeeding, pumping? Someone said, I like wanted to write it down in quotes, exactly. It's so hard and no one told me about this part. And that is like literally how I feel about feeding your baby. I swear, like feeding your baby and worrying about feeding your baby is harder than taking care of your baby. Maverick had tongue-tied issues at the beginning, so we actually got it like fixed right in the hospital like the day he was born. But it did mess up his latch for a little bit, so he wasn't latching on to me as well. So my milk took a little bit longer to come in, so we had to supplement with formula like really early on. And I feel like a lot of people don't like talk about how the days of like waiting on your milk supply to come in and stuff like that can be kind of hard, because you're wanting to make sure that the baby's fed and the baby isn't losing weight and all that kind of stuff. I was so new to all this when I went to the pediatrician, you guys, for his first appointment. I got in the car after and I sobbed like no other, because he had lost a little bit more weight than they like wanted him to. So they were like, you need to be supplementing with formula. And I felt like the most awful mom guilt ever. My mom was there with me, thank God, and so was Dylan, and they were just telling me like it's not my fault type of thing, and just like reassuring me, and that it's normal for people to have to supplement with formula. So if you're dealing with your milk supply being low, just know like supplementing with formula is totally normal. My whole breastfeeding situation, I guess I can just like open up about that quick, because it's something that has been hard for me as well currently. I was breastfeeding as much as I could, supplementing with formula when we felt like we needed to, also pumping all at the same time. And then it kind of changed to where he wasn't really getting fully fed when I nursed him, so we were just pumping then. Pumping was going well. I had like little handheld pumps that were great. I would take them everywhere, pump all the time, but it then started to wear on me mentally. Pumping full time is no joke. If you do it, like, I have to give you a round of applause, because you're like super mom. It is like a full-time job to pump around the clock to be able to feed your baby. It's really, really, really impressive if you can do it. Maverick is a big boy and he's growing quick, and I just like didn't have the milk supply to keep up with how many ounces and stuff that he was wanting. Oh no, my camera's flashing, so it's probably gonna die. I'm gonna have to switch to my other one and see if I can get through this question. I was pumping, sometimes nursing, and then sometimes doing formula. We found a new formula that we really love called By Heart. It's really clean. We just really like the brand. And then he started going up in ounces again in feeds, and I just like my milk supply couldn't keep up, and I was just so worried about getting my milk supply up that I wasn't worrying about anything else, and I wasn't even like worrying about like being a good mom. I felt like all I could think about was trying to pump and nurse him. I was getting frustrated at him, he was getting frustrated at me. It was just like this whole thing, and I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it. So right before Montana, I kind of threw in the towel, and we've been doing mostly formula, and I'm putting myself out there for criticism, so if anyone wants to comment like that I should have tried harder or things I could have done, you can go ahead, but I'm just probably gonna like ignore it because it's like such a tough topic for moms. A fed baby is a happy baby at the end of the day. That's what I keep telling myself, and he's happy. I don't know why I'm gonna cry because I've like accepted it mentally. I think it's just talking about it. He's happy, he's fed, I know he's happy. He's like the happiest smiley boy. I'm just proud of myself for making it the 2 months that I did. I've heard the first 6 weeks is the most important, so I've heard, that's what my doctors told me, for getting that breast milk in them. So I did it for almost 2 months, and I'm just proud of myself for that and for even giving it a try. Maybe next baby I'll know things to do better, things not to do that I did with Maverick. Obviously it was a learning experience for me. I'm a new mom. I know some moms it comes easier, some moms are oversuppliers, and that just like wasn't me. I was like barely producing, and I was having to like try so hard to give him a full feed in a sitting, and it just like wasn't working for either of us. So that's kind of my situation. This sit down is just like crazy. We've got Rue, we've got thunder, we've got a dead camera. It's fine. Okay, I just wanted to end off that question quick. Just know if you're a new mom and you're dealing with the struggle of like the feeding of the baby, no, you're not alone, because a lot of moms go through it. I think social media can make you think or feel like some moms have it together more than others. Like I said, some moms are oversuppliers, some are under. I just happen to be like one of those undersuppliers, and I had to try really hard for my milk supply. And to me, it was wearing on me and like my time and relationship with the baby that almost just like wasn't really worth it for me. Just know that you are the best that your baby knows. You're the mom. Your baby loves you. At the end of the day, a happy baby is a fed baby. So that is that. Lastly, in the whole like postpartum question section, we've got postpartum must-haves. I saw a lot of questions about this. I have a full list of like postpartum must-haves and like breastfeeding must-haves type of stuff for the mom. I'll link it below. There's like 1,000,001 I feel like postpartum products out there, but there's like certain things and brands of things that I found that I loved better than others. I will say, when you leave the hospital, clear out the hospital. They have like a lot of diapers, wipes, diapers for yourself, Tux pads, all that kind of stuff. Take it with you, because at the end of the day you're paying for it, so make sure you take that with you because you'll definitely use it. Freedom Mom is a great brand if you're postpartum, like the Freedom Mom boy shorts, all of their like cooling stuff, ice packs, all that kind of stuff. Amazing. So I'll link all my favorites, but I'm not gonna like talk about them individually because this video will be like 3 hours long. Last little bit is like mom questions. First one we have is, how am I finding time for myself as a new mom? It's definitely harder. Some days I don't seem to find the time for myself. I will say I'm a big believer in this. It takes a village to raise a baby. I'm very thankful for the family and friends that I have. With Dylan's job, we don't really have many friends nearby, and honestly many family members, because we move a lot. I use my mom's help a ton. I'm very thankful that she offers her help. I fly her in a lot to help me out, because I'm just not quite at the stage where I trust anyone else other than like a family or a close friend with him, just because he's still so tiny and so little, that I'm very thankful. Like my mom's downstairs right now with him helping, so I can film this video and do some work for you guys and get some content out there. So I'm very thankful for her help. She comes and helps with laundry, she plays with them, she's just like the best. We call her Mimi. She's the best Mimi ever. I'm very thankful for her. So whenever I have help and she's in town, or whoever else is in town, I'll like make my appointments. Like I'll go get my hair done, my nails, and just like have a second to myself. I like to not spend too much time away from Maverick. Like I'm always like, give me back to him. But it is nice to like step out of the house, go grab a coffee, maybe a solo coffee trip, or go get my nails done by myself type of thing. Kind of just like gives me like a fresh little start, especially if I'm having like a rough day or something. But I will say it is hard to find time for yourself. But I also, during these crazy newborn times, I try to remind myself like the time for myself will come back, but these like memories of him being this little and him needing me as much as he does will never come back, which makes me literally want to cry. I just try to like remind myself that like I'll always be able to have time for myself down the road when he's like in school or a toddler playing on his own type of thing. But right now he needs me and I need him, and I just like love spending time with him. So I just try to like soak it all in. Newborn phase, be honest, is the newborn phase as hard as it is made out to be? I will say I think it depends on your baby. I know that a lot of babies can be colicky, some babies are really easy, some babies are really bad at sleeping at night type of thing. I will say Maverick is a very, very, very easy baby. We're so thankful. He's already sleeping through the night. He's not even 3 months, so it's just like actually crazy. So I feel like we didn't have that hard of a time in the newborn phase. I think the hardest like time during the newborn phase was my like feeding situation. So like what I just touched on, like the pumping and the breastfeeding and the nursing and all that, that was like the hardest for me because I was a new mom and I was trying to like understand it. I feel like next time around it'll be a little bit easier on me, and I know like things that I want to do versus not do that I did this time type of thing. Maybe not introduce the bottle as quickly, or maybe like, you know, stuff like that. But I feel like other than that, the newborn phase, it really is just like they sleep, eat, poop, and nut. Like you just like keep an eye on them and you change their diaper, you change them, you love on them, you cuddle them. Like, and don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people have like that colicky baby where you can't sit them down or they don't stop crying or things like that. So I'm very thankful that Maverick is the way he is, and he's like such a chill, easy, smiley, happy baby. I feel like the hard part is gonna be like the toddler age when they're like running around and crawling around and all that kind of stuff. So right now I'm just trying to honestly soak in the newborn phase. I feel like we're like at this point out of the newborn phase. He's like 11 weeks now, I think. He'll be 3 months August 11th. So crazy. Time is going by so fast. Someone asked, how do I get out of the house so much with Maverick that I inspire them to get out of the house with their newborn, which I think is so sweet. It makes me happy that someone like noticed that I try and I get out a lot, because it is something that I like really try to prioritize and do. I think it really helps my mental health. He loves looking around, seeing new places, new things. So it's like, if we just sit in the house and he's staring at the living room ceiling all day, he's like fussy. He like wants to get out. He loves being outside. So I try to like make an effort. It is hard in the summer because it's been so hot here that it's hard for him to like not overheat. So like the fall, I'm so excited to be able to go on long walks in the stroller and do all that kind of stuff. But even if I'm just like, even like if the only thing that I do that day is get out of the house and take a drive to the Starbucks drive-through and that be it, I still think of that as an accomplishment because he loves looking out the window and all that kind of stuff. I think it helps us both tremendously. And I know as a new mom, it can be scary to take the baby out, especially like when Dylan went back to work, I take Maverick everywhere by myself, which can be really like intimidating and scary because you're like, what if they have a freak out in public or whatever? Like when we took him on the airplane, I was like so nervous because I'm like, what if he is screaming, crying on the plane? But at the end of the day, you have to remember like everyone around you most likely has been there, done that with kids, and they like are really understanding. More people are there to lend a hand than you think. So just be confident, get out of the house if you want to get out of the house. If you don't and you want to stay in, that's totally fine too. I just think like for the sake of me and him, it just like totally helped. Has been difficult on my marriage having a baby, and then like how has it been parenting with Dylan? It's been so fun. Seeing Dylan as a dad has been the absolute best. It's like actually crazy because I like, we were talking about this the other day, like before Dylan and I got married, I was like, I love this man so much. Then we get married, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could love this man even more than I did. Now we have a kid together, I'm like, holy shit, I love this guy so much. It's like kind of crazy. And obviously you guys probably do too. See so much of Dylan and Maverick. It's like a mini Dylan almost. So it's like really special to just like see him in this like baby that we created and both love so much. It's so fun and sweet to see him now that Maverick's like smiling and playing more. It's fun. Like Dylan is a little bit more hands-on now. Now that I'm not nursing him, Dylan can help with the bottle a lot and all that kind of stuff. So it's been really, really fun. And it's like, I'm so excited to grow our family. It's been like, honestly, my favorite phase of life yet is like seeing Dylan and me as parents. It's just been like so fun and such a blessing. It's like actually unreal. I have like 2 more. I feel like this is getting so long. Favorite thing about being a mom. I feel like my favorite thing about being a mom is like knowing that someone needs me. Someone is relying on me to take care of them and love them and make them happy and smile. And I just like wake up every day with the purpose, knowing like, oh, I have this little baby to take care of that I love so much. I think that's like my absolute favorite. There's so many things that I love. Like I can't even really put them into words type of thing. but it's just like probably my favorite phase of life. Yeah, my favorite era of myself is being a mom, and I feel like, at least for me, I think it comes naturally to me, and I think that I want to have like 100 more babies because it's just my favorite. There was a lot of questions about like if we follow a schedule or routine or getting him into a routine. Right now we're still not really in a routine quite yet. I actually wanted to put this question in because I wanted to ask you, if your baby is around Maverick's age, he's about to be 3 months, what routine, what apps, things like that are you guys following? Because I'm kind of lost on the whole routine thing. Like I said, he's a pretty easy baby, so when he goes to sleep, he stays asleep for the night. We do have a nighttime routine that stays consistent every single night, which is why I think he sleeps through the night. We do dim all the lights in the room, turn the red light, white noise, all that stuff on the hatch, do the bath, give him a little baby massage with lotion, jammies, bottle, book, and then put him down in the crib. And then I transfer him over into the bassinet right now just because I'm scared to leave him in the crib all night. But he sleeps through the whole night because I think that's like a routine, and he knows like once I get a bath, it's like bedtime. But during the day, he's still kind of like iffy. I think it's because we've been traveling a lot and not really like being home a ton. We were in Florida and then Montana and all that kind of stuff. I just like give him a bottle when I know, like now I'm starting to know his different cries. Like I know if he's crying because he's hungry or if he's crying because he's tired, type of thing. We definitely have longer stretches in between each naps and feeds. We do tummy time more, stuff like that. He's like awake longer, but we're not really on like a set, like, okay, it's 3 o'clock, he needs a bottle type of thing. So if you have any advice for that, or like whenever you put your baby on a routine, like what age type of thing, I would love to know. Last thing, this is kind of like a random question to end on. Plans for daycare, nanny, things like that. Any help with Maverick? I will say I think that I want to hold off on a nanny or daycare, anything like that, just until he's a little bit older, especially because I am home and I'm thankful to be home. And like I said, I would rather fly my mom in than like hire help elsewhere right now. When he gets older and needs more like playing and is around more, and I can't just like put him in the rocker and like also edit at the same time type of thing, or like also answer emails at the same time, I think I'll definitely have to have some help, especially if like say next season we move farther away from our family for football. Like my mom might not be able to just like make it in a quick hour flight. So I definitely think like maybe like an at-home nanny could be an option. Maybe like 2 or 3 days a week. I don't think we'll ever have a full-time nanny just because I am home and I really just like love spending time with him right now. So I think that's like to be determined. I think obviously everyone's life is different. Everyone needs different things. Some people need full-time nannies, some people have to do daycare, some people live with their in-laws. Like everyone's different and everyone needs different things, and I think there's no shame in what works for you as a parent. So that's kind of my whole deal on it. If he ends up in daycare, then he ends up in daycare. If we end up with a nanny, then we end up with a nanny type of thing. So we will see. I think whatever works best for Dylan and I as parents, and whatever works best for Maverick and what he likes will be what we end up doing. So, but right now we're content. We have family to help us out. I'm home. It's summer. We're traveling. We're going to Florida for the month. My mom and dad will be there to help me. So anyways, that's kind of that. So I hope that answered all of y'all's like questions and touched on. If it didn't, if there's like a question you're dying to know, you can leave in the description. I will read the comments in this video and answer. I'll like comment back to you guys. But yeah, I'm gonna stop chatting because I feel like this video is so long. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, if you're a new mom, expecting mom, congratulations. It's literally the best phase of your life that you're about to enter. It's so fun, it's so rewarding, and I am so excited for you. So I love you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.